WEFUNK. We funk.
And I guess that would officially get us to the big Lomachenko Lopez Megafight preview. As teased earlier on the episode and talked about for the last couple episodes here on the KO Cast, as we've all been super excited for this one in the boxing community, as it's been a long time coming. One of the worst kept rumors in the sport for a long time. Really, I guess even before Coronaville and all throughout Coronaville, we've been waiting. Eagerly waiting for this fight to go down. I guess, like I mentioned even earlier in my, January episode for the fights of the year that I was most looking forward to, Loma Lopez on the list, and it's all going down on free ESPN as well. No ESPN Plus, no pay-per-view, regular old ESPN. Not a great undercard. But I guess, like I said, they've used all of their undercard fighters headlining their 1,000,002 events, and thank God again, God bless them for doing that, and thank them so much for giving us all the boxing action that they've given us. But they're really using most of their mid-carders as headliners, so not a great undercard. And the action might be great. There might be great fights on the undercard, but not necessarily, compared to the Showtime 6 championship fight card that went on last month. Not a great card altogether, however. They've got a great main event with the Loma Lopez Megafight unification bout. 3 belts in the lightweight division on the line for 2 of the biggest names, biggest stars in the sport, especially for Lomo, but I guess really for ESPN anyway. Both have really become, main promotional draws for ESPN, as Lopez really more due to some of the shenanigans for Lopez, as he was the dude who was he fought on the back-to-back Heisman Trophy night cards, the Heisman Trophy presentation on ESPN, followed by boxing, where Lopez wore the jersey of the winner and does a backflip when he comes in. So ESPN has fallen. He's from Brooklyn. ESPN has really fallen in love with Lopez and really fast-tracked him on his way to stardom, in all honesty. He's only 15-0, and compared to a lot of other prospects in this sport and around the division, Lopez has gotten the friendly benefit of, being an ESPN top-ranked favorite, which again, Lomo being the, at this point, kind of really, at this point I guess Fury is really the main ESPN top-ranked guy just because he's a heavyweight, but Lomo really has surpassed Crawford as, the regarded pound-for-pound king in most camps, I'd say, and the real main promotional fixture for ESPN. Again, why the fight is on regular ESPN. ESPN loves to showcase Lomo for their boxing, but I guess for me, the more interesting part of the story in a lot of ways, however, is Lopez, however, though. And really just the fact that Lomo is fighting a guy where there's excitement for the other fighter as well. Kind of like they talked about a little bit earlier with Crawford not being in any mega fights. It's really detrimental for Lomo's career to not have another big name and fight where people are really excited for both fighters. Another big name to battle with would really help elevate his career, as it's not like and Lomo has fought the best fighters in the division. Luke Campbell, he's Pedraza, he's fought some really high level fighters or whatnot, but just not the names that anybody really cares about or is familiar with. and in the business of boxing, that is, in a lot of ways, just as important as the best, technical in-ring fighter. You got to get some buzz, and you got to get some excitement, and I feel, that is the one thing that's been kind of missing around Lomo, is a fight like this, where there are people talking about both fighters, and it's going to be all that more impressive when he wins. Because usually you're watching a Lomo card is a 100% showcase for Lomo's ability, and it's kind of, you're watching the whole broadcast to see if he's going to Nomaschenko the guy, and to see if the blaring foot speed is really as remarkable as they say, which it is. But Lomo is always so front and center, the star of the show, that it'll be fun to see, Lomo in a fight where there's a buzz and excitement around the fight itself, and we'll see how Lomo can kind of handle that pressure, and it really could catapult him on the way to, like I said, Tank Davis is another real, potentially huge star power kind of guy with could have a huge win over Santa Cruz. That could be a real, huge mega fight as well for Lomachenko, although with, some promotional difficulties with, Davis being a Money Mayweather Showtime guy, but as well the undefeated Devin Haney, Lee Selby, a lot of other, good big names and great fighters in the lightweight division, so this really could catapult Lomo on to, further stardom in front of more and more eyes with more and more awareness than he's had. Or it could be a historic upset for a future great, Teofimo Lopez, all right, who is coming into the fight 15-0, 12 knockouts. All right, he as well did have, a very, very impressive amateur career, as he did compete in the Olympics for Honduras. So he's not just, he's not just a promotional guy that's a huge knockout artist that's eating up tomato cans. That he really is a very, very quality boxer and a very skilled fighter. If you've watched any of the YouTube clips of his hand speed and footwork, he really is, freakish level with all of that stuff as well. All right, perhaps he doesn't have like the all-time historic resume as does Lomachenko, who of course not the unblemished record, as he did suffer, an early loss in his professional career. However, he fought for a title in his second fight. As of course, coming in with like the amazing, like 391 amateur record with 2 gold medals in the Olympics and all sorts of world championships, not allowed to turn professional in his native Ukraine until, performing way too long for the flag. So then once he, really hit the ground running as a professional, winning a title in his third fight and pretty much breaking a record with first to do this, first to do that. Every fight he has, like I said, it's either a record, either a showcase for his brilliance, if not just a flat out another, a paragraph to the resume, with wins versus, Linares, Pedraza, Campbell, Crolla. So he's fought, for the most part, all of the best in the lightweight division. He's just outclassed them so much that it hasn't seemed as impressive. So we'll see if Lopez can give him a better fight. Lopez is coming in bigger. First of all, 10 years younger and bigger, couple inches advantage of a reach. However, for Lomachenko, that's not necessarily anything new. I'd say probably for me, the most important factor in this fight, however, really is the fire in the fists of Lopez. As I did mention before, really, really, right up there with Deontay Wilder for, pound for pound knockout power in any division. Teofimo Lopez really does have that knockout power just as much as any fighter pound for pound in the entire sport. And for Lomachenko, who, like I said, has been so dominant in his performances, the one thing that you've not necessarily seen 100% tested, and one thing that you're not necessarily 100% confident in from what you have seen from Lomachenko is the chin. Okay, I saw Linares put him down at the Garden. You saw Pedraza had him dazed at times in that fight. I mean, he immediately recovered and went on to dominate, and he's going to outpoint you and outclass you and all of that. However, the one thing that you don't know about Lomachenko is if he gets into a slugfest, if he gets into a dogfight, if he gets into a fight where he has to sustain a couple of big shots, can he do that, especially versus a guy that hits as hard as Lopez? Okay, of course, we all know, like I said, Lomachenko really primarily wins his fights with his feet. That footwork is just so amazingly, quick and skilled that he truly is able to just dance his way in and out of range so quick that it's the, now he's in, boom, bam, and now he's out of range, and just, before you can even punch him, before you even know that he's about to punch you, he's back out of range. He just floats around the ring, just so beautifully and graceful to watch, really, for Lomachenko, and he's able to kind of, that's how he outpoints and outskills all of the fighters, and really just wears them down through sheer dominance, where, just he, like the accumulation of punishment and just, really mentally defeats a lot of opponents, as well as, he left, 3 consecutive opponents on the stool, not wanting to come out just because you're just getting shelled by punches with no chance to return any damage, that it's just demoralizing for these guys. And so he has accumulated a lot of knockouts, really being more of just traditional, amateur style boxer, trying to just hit you more times than he gets hit himself, and would be, virtually impossible to beat on the scorecards. However, Lopez, you figure, doesn't necessarily mind that and is looking for a knockout. And for Lopez, let's face it, he really is a winner just for showing up. Because at his young stage of his career, if he's walking out of this fight here on Saturday, 15-1, after a major headlining loss to one of the greatest fighters of the generation, that's only going to do good things for his career in terms of, we've talked a lot about it on the show as well, but not being afraid to take that loss in boxing, where it's, Floyd Mayweather kind of made it, seem like you have to be undefeated to be, a serious, legitimate, great, great in the sport. And it's just not true. And especially in a situation like this, where there's no shame in Lopez taking a loss at this point in his career, especially with he's not going anywhere, and he'll have the opportunity to, win a belt and avenge the loss, and all of that. And definitely, just like I said, just with name recognition and putting him just in front of more eyes than he ever has, against one of the great fighters of the generation, with a major opportunity to just earn respect for that. He is it is a great situation for Lopez, win, lose, or draw, I guess, just from the business standpoint. From the in-the-ring action, though, like I mentioned, in order to pull off the upset, he's really he's going to need to land a KO, let's face it, all right, and he's got the reach advantage and tons of power, in 12 rounds to land one big shot and test Lomo's, suspect chin, okay, in the bubble as well, which we should point out, which just is all sorts of chaos, and you never know what's going to happen in the bubble. But I really do believe that Lopez is a very, live dog, especially at the odds, like I'll get into, but I guess on the other hand, Lomachenko, like I said, really just one of the greats of the generation, and he's a little bit old for probably the biggest fight of his professional career, a little bit old and very seasoned for the the biggest moment of his professional career. But really, in a lot of ways, that's what this is for Lomachenko. And you kind of get the feeling that he smells blood in a skill versus skill challenge versus Lopez. Like I mentioned at the bubble, you'd think that maybe Lomachenko a little bit more professionally oriented and able to handle the whole logistical scenario of going into the bubble and how it impacts your training regiments and all that kind of stuff. Lopez has never seen anyone with the skill or speed of Loma, who is just such a tactician, but also, like I said, equally dangerous to knock you out, especially if he sees weakness. And like I said, you kind of just get the feeling that from a boxing standpoint, with only 15 professional fights, Lopez maybe not ready to jump into the deep end with an all-time great like Lomachenko. I guess at the end of the day, obviously Loma way better, more skilled. But like I said, I really do believe that Lopez is a very, very worthy option, especially at 5-1 for a knockout win. Okay, as like I said, Lopez is gonna get a win. He's gonna do it through a dramatic big knockout. 5-1 odds for a Lopez knockout, not terrible. All right. Also, there is value for Lomo to win by knockout. Okay, you get about 2-1 value for that. We've seen Lomo, like I said before, is definitely can be very aggressive to get a knockout, especially versus a guy like he might fear. If you wait 12 rounds with Lopez, like I said, he might land one late. So and especially for this being such a main showcase, big fight for Lomachenko as well. There's been lots of trash talk between these two guys. Of course, you don't know how much of that is just promotional, especially with Lopez being from Brooklyn. You don't know how much of that is just Lopez being from Brooklyn, as well as promotional. But it's been a lot of trash talk for a long time as the build-up from this fight has just went on and on. So I would definitely am putting my money down on a knockout decision either way. Okay, you can a fight ending before the decision is as well plus money. You're getting plus 120 for the fight to not end by decision. The over-under on rounds at 10.5 is an adjusted 160 plus 160. Okay, so you're getting plus money at the under 10.5. Plus money to not go decision, plus money for Lomo to land a knockout, and like I said, great value at 5-1 for a shot from Lopez. However, in the biggest moment of one of the great careers in the history of boxing, I do not see Lomo going down. So I do see Lomachenko coming away victorious, and I would not be surprised with a knockout for Lomo. I'm going 7th round knockout for Lomachenko. Finally wears him down in desperation as well. Lopez is going to be swinging for the fences. That's going to leave him open. And I think, as we saw with Taylor and Charlo, and as we've seen before a lot with Lomachenko, a body shot will get the young Lopez. I'm going Lomo knockout in the 7th, and goes on pursuit of an undisputed unification with Haney, and of course gets stuck by the winner of Davis and Santa Cruz.
WEFUNK. We funk.